Welcome to Daily Conversation. This is Mr. K. Yeah, today is the 28th of August 2021, and the time now is 6:15 a.m. Well, today is a reading session, and we are going to continue reading the book Atomic Habit. All right, so before we get started, please click the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so here we go.
Okay, we
All right,
start
so
with slide 1395. Our habits are not solely determined by our personalities, but there's no doubt that our genes nudge us in a certain direction. Our deeply rooted preferences make certain behaviors easier for some people than for others. You don't have to apologize for these differences or feel guilty about them, but you still have to work with them. A person who scores lower on conscientiousness, for example, will be less likely to be orderly by nature and may need to rely more heavily on environment design to stick with good habits. As a reminder for the less consci- conscientious readers among us, environment design is a strategy we discussed in chapter 6 and 12.
the takeaway is that you should build habits that work for your personality. People can get ripped working out like a bodybuilder, but if you prefer rock climbing or cycling or rowing, then shape your exercise habits around your interest. If your friend follows a low carb diet but you find that low fat works for you, then more power to you. If you want to read more, don't be embarrassed if you prefer steamy romance novels over nonfiction. Read whatever fascinates you. You don't have to build the habits everyone tells you to build. Choose the habit that best suits you, not the one that is most popular.
This is a version of every habit that can bring you joy and satisfaction. Find it. Habits need to be enjoyable if they are going to stick. This is the core idea behind the fourth law. Tailoring your habits to your personality is a good start, but this is not the end of the story. Let's turn our attentions to finding and designing situations where you are at nature advantage.
How to find a game where the odds are in your favor. Learning to play a game where the odds are in your favor is critical for maintaining motivation and feeling successful. In theory, you can enjoy almost anything. In practice, you are more likely to enjoy the things that come easily to you. People who are talented in a particular area tend to be more competent at that task and then praised for doing a good job. They stay energized because they are making progress where others have failed, and because they get rewarded with better pay and bigger opportunities, which not only makes them happier, but also propels them to produce even higher quality work. It is a virtuous cycle.
The last line, the last second, okay. How to pronounce it?
Virtuous, is it correct?
Hmm.
For this one, IR is, I remember this phonetic symbol for this one is the same as the word shirt. So it should be something like with the R, virtuous.
Hmm. Okay. Pick the right habits and progress is easy. Pick the wrong habit and life is a struggle. How do you pick the right habit? The first step is something we cover in the third law. Make it easy. In many cases, when people pick the wrong habit, it simply means they picked a habit that was too difficult. When the habit is easy, you're more likely to be successful. When you're successful, you're more likely to feel satisfied. However, there is another level to consider. In the long run, if you continue to advance and improve, any area can become challenging. At some point, you need to make sure you're playing the right game for your skill set. How do you figure that out?
The most common approach is trial and error. Of course, there's the problem with this strategy. Life is short. You don't have time to try every career, date every eligible bachelor, or play every musical instrument. Thankfully, there is an effective way to manage this conundrum, conundrum, and it is known as the explore or exploit trade-off.
In the beginning of a new activity, there should be a period of exploration. In relationships, it's called dating. In college, it's called the liberal art. In business, it's called split testing. The goal is to try out many possibilities, research a broad range of ideas, and cast a wide net.
After this initial period of exploration, shift your focus to the best solution you found, but keep experimenting, experiment, experimenting occasionally. The proper, the proper balance depends on whether you're winning or losing. If you are currently winning, you exploit, exploit. If you are currently losing, you continue to explore.
In the long run, it's probably most effective to work on the strategy that seems to deliver the best results about 80 to 90% of the time and keep exploring with the remaining 10 to 20%. Google famously asked employees to spend 80% of their work week on their office on their official job and 20% on projects of their choice, which has led to the creations of block- blockbuster products like AdWords and Gmail.
The optimal approach also depends on how much time you have. If you have a lot of time, like someone at the beginning of their career, it makes more sense to explore because once you find the right thing, you still have a good amount of time to exploit it. If you are pressed for time, say as you come as you come up on the deadline for a project, you should implement the best solution you've found so far and get some results.
Last two lines, uh,
Okay.
the last third word. This is implement. You pronounce implement.
Okay. Implement.
As you explore different options, there are, there are a series of questions you can ask yourself to continually narrow in on the habits and areas that will be most satisfying to you.
What feels like fun to me, but work to others? The mark of whether you are made for a task is not whether you love it, but whether you can handle the pain of the task easier than most people. When you when are you enjoying yourself while other people are complaining? The work that hurts you less than it hurts others is the work you were made to do.
What makes me lose track of time? Flow is the mental state you enter when you are so focused on the task at hand that the rest of the world fades away. This blend, this blend of happiness and peak performance is what athletes and performers experience when they are in the zone. It's nearly impossible to experience a flow state and not find the task satisfying at least to some degree.
Where do I get greater returns than the average person? We are continually comparing ourselves to those around us, and a behavior is more likely to be satisfying when the comparison is in our favor. When I started writing at jamesclear.com, my email list grew very quickly. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing well, but I knew that results seemed to be coming faster for me than for some of my colleagues, which motivated me to keep writing.
What comes nat- what comes naturally to me for just a moment. Ignore what you have been told. Ignore what society has told you. Ignore what others expect of you. Look inside yourself and ask what feels natural to me. When have I felt alive? When have I felt like the real me? No internal judgment or people pleasing. No second guessing or self-criticism. Just feelings of engagement and enjoyment. Whenever you feel authentic and genius, you are you are you are headed in the right directions.
Yeah, the last second line. This one I think is genuine, and you pronounce it as genuine, genuine,
Genuine,
genuine.
genuine.
To be honest, some of these process is just luck. Michael Phelps and Hakim El Guro were lucky to be born with a rare set of abilities that are highly valued by society and to be placed in the ideal environment for those abilities. We all have limited time on this planet, and the truly great among us are the ones who not only work hard but also have the good fortune to be exposed to opportunities that favor us.
But what if you don't want to leave it up to luck? If you can't find a game where the odds are stacked in your favor, create one. Scott Adams, the cartoonist behind Delbert says everyone has at least a few areas in which they could be in the top 25% with some effort. In my case, I can draw better than most people, but I'm hardly an artist, and I'm not any funnier than the average stand-up comedian who never makes it big, and I'm funnier than most people. The magic is that few people can draw well and write jokes. It's the combinations it's the combinations of the two that makes what I do so real. And when you add in my business background, suddenly I had a topic that few cartoonists could hope to understand without living it.
When you can't win by being better, you can win by being different. By combining your skills, reduce you reduce the level of competition, which makes it easier to stand out. You can shortcut the need for a genetic advantage or for years of practice by rewriting the rules. A good player works hard to win the game everyone else is playing. A great player creates a new game that favors their strengths and avoid their weaknesses.
In college, I designed my own major, bio- biomechanics, which was a combination of physics, chemistry, biology, and anatomy. I wasn't smart enough to stand out among the top physics or biology majors, so I created my own game. And because it suited me, I was only taking the courses I was interested in. Studying felt like less of a chore. It was also easier to avoid the trap of comparing myself to everyone else. After all, nobody else was taking the same combination of classes, so who could say if they were better or worse?
Specialization is a powerful way to overcome the accidents of a bad genetic. The more you master a specific skill, the harder it becomes for others to compete with you. Many bodybuilders are stronger than the average wrestler, but even a massive bodybuilder may lose at arm wrestling because the arm wrestling champ has very specific strength. Even if you're not the most naturally gifted, you can often win by being the best in a very narrow category.
Boiling water will soften potato but hardens an egg. You can't control whether you are a potato or an egg, but you can decide to play a game where it's better to be hard or soft. If If you can find a more favorable environment, you can transform the situation from one where the odds are against you to one where they are in your favor.
How to get the most out of your genes. Our genes do not eliminate the need for hard work, they clarify it. They tell us what to work hard on. Once we realize our strengths, we know where to spend our time and energy. We know which types of opportunities to look for and which types of challenges to avoid. The better we understand our nature, the better our strategy can be.
Biological differences matter. Even so, it's more productive to focus on whether you're fueling your own potential than comparing yourself to someone else. The fact that you have a na- the fact that you have a natural limit to any specific ability has nothing to do with whether you are reaching the ceiling of your capabilities. People get so caught up in the fact that they have limits that they have rarely exert the effort required to get close to them.
Furthermore, genes can't make you successful if you're not doing the work. Yes, it's possible that the ripped trainer at the gym has better genes, but if you haven't put in the same reps, it's impossible to say if you have been dealt a better or worse genetic hand. Until you work as hard as those you admire, don't explain away their success as luck.
In summary, one of the best ways to ensure your habits remain satisfying over the long run is to pick behaviors that align with your personality and skills. Work hard on the things that comes easy. Chapter summary. The secret to maximizing your odds of success is to choose the right fields of competitions. Pick the right amount, pick the right habits and progress is easy. Pick the wrong habits and life is a struggle. Genes cannot be easily changed, which means they provide a powerful advantage in favorable circumstances and a serious disadvantage in unfavorable circumstances. Habits are easier when they align with your natural abilities. Choose the habits that best suit you. Play a game that favors your strengths. If you can't find a game that favors you, create one. Genes do not eliminate the need for hard work. They clarify it. They tell us what to work hard on.
The Goldilocks Rule: how to stay motivated in life and work. In 1955, Disneyland has just opened in Anaheim, California, when a 10-year-old boy walked in and asked for a job. Lab- Labor laws were loose back then, and the boy managed to land a position selling guidebooks for 50 cents a piece.
Within a year, he had transitioned to Disney Magic Shop, where he learns tricks from the older employees. He experimented with jokes and tried out simple routines on visitors. Soon he discovered that what he loved was not performing magic but performing in general. He set his sight of becoming a comedian.
Beginning in his teenage years, he started performing uh, little clubs in little clubs around Los Angeles. The clubs were small and his act was short. He was rarely on stage for more than 5 minutes. Most of the people in the crowd were too busy drinking or talking with friends to pay attention. One night, he literally delivered his stand-up routine to an empty club.
It wasn't glamorous work. but there was no doubt he was getting better. His first routines would only last 1 or 2 minutes. By high school, his material had expanded to include a 5-minute act and a few years later, a 10-minute show. At 19, he was performing weekly for 20 minutes at a time. He had to he had to read three poems during the show just to make the routines long enough, but his skills continued to progress.
The last word is progress, and you could pronounce as progress.
But this is but this is verb, right?
Yeah. Um,
This is not a noun at here.
oh yeah, yeah, I also got confused. He spent another decade experimenting, adjusting, and practicing. He took a job as a television writer, and gradually he was able to land his own appearance on talk shows. By the mid 1970s, he had worked his way into being a regular guest on The Tonight Show and Saturday Night Live.
Finally, after nearly 15 years of work, the young man rose to fame. He toured 60 cities and 63 days, then 72 cities and 80 days, then 85 cities in 90 days. He had 18,965 people attend one show in Ohio. Another 45,000 tickets were sold for his 3-day show in New York. He catapulted to the top of his genre and became one of the most successful comedians of his time.
His name is Steve Martin. Martin's story offers a fascinating perspective on what it takes to stick with habits for the long run. Comedy is not for the timid. It is hard to imagine a situation that would strike fear into the hearts of more people than performing alone on stage and failing to get a single laugh. And yet, Steve Martin faced his fear every week for 18 years. In his words, 10 years spent learning, 4 years spent refining, and 4 years as a wild success.
Why is that some people, like Martins, stick with their habits, whether practicing jokes, or drawing cartoons, or playing guitar, while most of us struggle to stay motivated? How do we design habits that pull us in rather than ones that fade away? Scientists have been studying this question for many years, while there's still much to learn. One of one of the most consistent findings is that the way to maintain motivation and achieve peak levels of desire is to work on tasks of just measurable difficulty.
The human brain loves a challenge, but only if it is within an optimal zone of difficulty. If you love tennis and try to play a serious match against a 4-year-old, you will quickly become bored. It's too easy. You'll win every point. In contrast, if you play a professional tennis player like Roger Federer and Serena Williams, You will quickly lose motivation because the match is too difficult.
Now consider playing tennis against someone who is your equal. As the game progresses, you win a few points and you lose a few. You have a good chance of winning, but only if you really try. Your focus narrow, distractions fade away, and you find yourself fully invested in the task at hand. This is a challenge of just manageable difficulty, and this is a prime example of the Goldilocks rule.
The Goldilocks rule states that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right on the edge of their current abilities. Not too hard, not too easy, just right.
The Goldilocks rule, bigger fitting. Maximum motivation occurs when facing a challenge of just measurable difficulty. In psychology research, this is known as the Lawson's law, which describes the optimum level of arousal as the midpoint between boredom and anxiety.
Martin's comedy career is an excellent example of the Goldilocks rule in practice. Each year, he expanded his comedy routine, but only by a minute or two. He was always adding new material, but he also kept a few jokes that were guaranteed to get laughs. There were just enough victories to keep him motivated and just enough mistakes to keep him working hard.
The last two, the, the last second line, the fourth word, this is victory. You pronounce victories.
Oh, okay. Victories.
When you are starting a new habit, it's important to keep the behavior as easy as possible so you can stick with it even when conditions aren't perfect. It's an idea we cover in detail while discussing the third law of behavior change.
The last line. This one is detail, and you pronounce as detail.
Okay, detail.
Once a habit has been established, however, it's important to continue advanced in small ways. These little improvements and new challenges keep you engaged. And if you hit the Goldilocks zone just right, you can achieve a flow state.
A flow state is the experience. A, a flow state is the experience of being in the zone and fully immersed in an activity. Scientists have tried to quantify these feelings. They found that to achieve a state of flow, a task must be roughly 4% beyond your current ability. In real life, it's typically not feasible, but to quantify it, it is not feasible to quantify the difficulty of an action in this way. But the core idea of the Goldilocks rules remains. Working on challenges of just measurable difficulty, something on the perimeters of your ability seems crucial for maintaining motivation.
Improvement requires a delicate balance. You need to regularly search for challenges that push you to your edge, while continuing to make enough progress to stay motivated. Behaviors need to remain novel in order for them to stay attractive and satisfying. Without var- variety, we get bored, and boredom is perhaps the greatest villain on the quest for self-improvement.
Hmm.
All right, I
Okay.
have just
Yeah. So make a summary.
okay. Yeah, so firstly, it talked about something related to genes, and then because of that, so we will have maybe some natural abilities in particular perspective, particular areas, and we can do something uh, better and also more easily and also more happily in those particular areas. And so for here is something like we need to spend uh, some times to find it out, to explore those our strengths and the things that we do it and we can do better and also with great interest. And then for here, I think um, firstly we need to kind of figure out our personality, and then the habit need to fit in our personality, and also personality and the gene. I believe that they are they are the same direction, and then um, yeah, and also it lines out the limitation of everybody. We have limited time in this planet, and then if we say we want to explore the right thing, and maybe we need a lot of time. So it is not possible that we try everything and then we stop, we try, and after that, comparing all the things we try and then we choose one. It is very time consuming, and that is it's not a very practical way in the reality. So it suggests a better method, which is we spend kind of 80 to 90% of our effort and time on the things maybe we were currently engaged, and then maybe we leave out 10 or 20% of times and effort to kind of explore some new thing, and then to try out some new things, and then by doing so we are actually spending a little time to explore what could be uh, our uh, our our advantage, our strengths, and then at the same time we do not affect the things that we are currently focused on too much. And then yeah, so this can be called trial and error, and this term appear in uh, the reading session today. And then um, yeah, and also something like we're doing self-assessment, and then try to find out what we are meant to do, we are made to do, and then he also um, come up with something like uh, if we do something and then maybe we feel it difficult, we feel quite bad doing it, but if we can handle the pain while the other is complaining, then maybe this is something that's in our favor or is our advantage. Yeah, the thing that is in our favor may not always be something very easy to do or very happy when doing it. It could be also struggling, but not to the point that you feel really dislike to do. And then yeah, I think for here maybe the authors uh, um, want to tell us that uh, when we are when we are choosing habits to form, and then firstly we need to make sure it is something that uh, fits our personality, and also the habits need to be not difficult, not too difficult. And it's something like we can go slow, but uh, uh, it, we can go slow, it doesn't matter. But if we go too difficult, maybe we stop and then we didn't continue. So going slow is uh, uh, better than quick and stop. And then also, he mentioned that hard work is something necessary for things in our life. Yeah, this remind me of something like you need to be hardworking. Uh, Even though hardworking may not lead to success, uh, but if you didn't work hard, and then the success never comes to you. So hard work is needed, and we shouldn't use something like the disadvantage because of the genes and then stop working hard. Yeah, this is not a good excuse. And then lastly, we have something called the Goldilocks Rule. And then for here, I think it is a good concept when dealing with taking challenges. Yeah, for here, uh, it mentions that something which is some challenges which is uh, manageable difficulties. Yeah, which means that the difficulties can be managed by us. It is not too difficult and it is not too easy. So in that case, we could somehow uh, keep repeating the same thing, and then we sometimes feel the flow when doing it. And then for here also one important thing is that if something is too easy, and also if we work every day and then everything is the same, maybe we will get bored because of the same thing. And then because of the boredom, so maybe that stop us from uh, improving. So we just stop there, and maybe the next time when we look at this task, we feel like it is not something uh, you will feel motivated to do. Yeah, so these are my sharing today.
Mm. Yeah, in this reading session, we read about flow, we read about the Goldilocks rules, and there are two paragraphs to explain this. The first, the author explains by by finding by finding the the right the balance, by finding the balance of boredoms and the 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 boredom
Anxiety.
and what?
Is it boredom and anxiety? If I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. I think it's that one. Yeah, boredom and anxiety. Yeah. When the task is too easy and then you feel bored. When the task is too difficult and you feel anxiety, you feel anxious. Mm. And about the Goldilocks rules is also explained that if you want to experience the flow, and is it better to to do the things with a manageable amount of difficulty. So it means that the task is not too easy and not too difficult. Yeah, and in theory, it should be 4% more difficult than your current abilities. Yeah, so these two things is linked together. And it also align what we learned in positive psychology. You need to find uh, you need to find the the difficulty. Yeah, the difficulty cannot be too hard and also cannot be too easy. Mm.
Yeah.
And it also apply to the change, which is for example the habits. Yeah, the habit change, the habit formation, or the habit breaking, or many other things. If it's too difficult, and we will quit it. If it's too easy, after we feel bored, and then we can't uh, continue to do it. Mm.
Mm.
And the second is the author asks us to focus about our strengths and not the weakness. Mm. Yeah, and the gym matter, but the but there's one person said in this reading session, there's one person's the author used one quote, use one quote of a person. I forget the name of person, but he say everyone can find at least something, or maybe a few things that could be the top 25%. Yeah. So it means that our genes don't don't close all the door. Yeah. Even our gene close all the door for us, it will also open some windows for us, just like the God.
Mm.
So you will have your talented areas, and you need
Mm.
to find it. Mm.
Yeah.
And yeah, and the author also mentioned about the how he create his own competitive advantage, which is the physics plus the biology plus the chemistry. Yeah, and he called it the biomechanics.
Mm.
Yeah, and this is something like he combined a lot of skill to become one of the very special skill set. Yeah, but for the next paragraph, he explained if we want to masterize something, we need to focus on the specializations, and he gave the athlete example.
Mm.
A person who worked in the a person an athlete an athlete who who train who train from a gym room may not able to beat the hand wrestler
Mm.
uh player. Yeah, and but here I found I realized there is some conflict. In the last paragraph, the author asks us, the author explained how he combined different skill to become a skill set. Because if if you just only have one skill, and then you can't really compete with other people, because there are many people are better than you, and you want to and if you want to become the top player in a specific area, you need to work you need to work very very hard. Yeah, and but if you can combine a lot of skill to become one of the unique skill sets, and nobody can fight with you. Mm. But the next paragraph, the author then mentioned about the specialization. So I find there's some conflict here. Mm. But we also can say this is not the conflict. This is the this is a compliment. Mm. And because we cannot we cannot know little about everything. We need to have something that we able to fight with other people.
Mm.
Yeah, and of course you don't need to be the really top player, but at least maybe you need to have a few skill that better than maybe 60% or 70%, and then you try to combine them together, become your unique skill. So you are not just only specialized in one particular area, specific area. Yeah. And the
Mm.
last one is uh, the author introduced a research show that a strategy a strategy for trial and error for trial and error, and because we may because we need to find our talented area. We need to find what our genes give us, and if we don't put in hard work, we couldn't find. So we really need to put efforts, and after that, after we work out, and then we can know, yeah, whether this is something that I uh, that I that I'm talented. Yeah,
Mm.
and uh, this is a Goldilocks rules. Yeah, and uh, the author um, say that the scientists the research show that uh, we put in 80% or 90% into our current our current task, and we spend we spend the remaining 10 or 20% of our time, energy, effort, maybe also money into a new task. So when we focus on our current task, it's called the exploit. And when we try to find new things, try to find a new possibility, this is an explore. Yeah.
Mm.
So when we are doing great on our current task, this is we maybe exploit the happiness, exploit the enjoyment. And
Yeah.
when we are doing the new task, we're exploring ourselves. We're finding new possibility of ourselves. And this is very similar to the idea that's introduced in one book, which is called the anti-fragile. Anti-fragile.
Mm.
This book is written by the uh, this is Tablet Nicholas or Nicholas Taleb. Yeah, I forget the sequence of their of his surname and his last name. Yeah, and Taleb call this as bar barbell strategy. Yeah, and he get he get the idea from gym room, so he named it as a barbell. And if you look at the shape of the barbell, mm, the barbell, if one side you put just like, for example, 10 kg, 10 kg, and another side you can put more than 10 kg, and the barbell won't fall down. So for example, the another side, the barbell can put like maybe uh 20 or maybe 40. Yeah. So the maximums, yeah, of course, there's a maximum limit. Yeah. So if you too if you put too much weight on one side and too less weight uh, on another side, and then the barbell will fall down. Yeah. So uh we can put a lot of effort, we can put a lot of time, a lot of energy on one side, and then uh we take out some percentage, maybe 10%, maybe 20% of our remaining time, energy, effort to another site, which is similar to these Goldilocks rules. So one side you focus on the current task, another side you focus on the new task. And it also similar to one concept, which is the slashy. Yeah, slashy means the young people nowadays, they are not so prefer to work to work for a company, also to work for a single to work for a single job, and also a single industry. Yeah, for their in their whole life, they want like diversifications, and so they call it slash. In Chinese, it's called the 斜杠. It's, some people call it, this is a slashy, which is the 斜杠青年 or the slash slash life or 斜杠人生, something like that. Yeah, so this is also the similar concept. Yeah. Okay, so that's my summary.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so anything else?
Yeah, I think just now I ignore the parts of exploiting and exploiting. Yeah, I came across them, but yeah, you're right. The exploit is for the current task we are doing, and then kind of keep uh, digging in, and then to find out the enjoyment and maybe happiness of that task. Yeah, and
Yeah,
explore.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that we can only exploit the happiness, the enjoyment from our contact. We also can get the happiness, get the enjoyment from a new task. Yeah, so uh, yeah, it's not a good uh, it's not a good terms to describe this. Because we need we focus on our journey, so we are not looking at the goal that we want to find something that we are talented. Just like you walk in a garden, and somebody tell you you need to pick one of the most beautiful flower when you comes out of the gardens, but you can only take one. Yeah, but of course you can change your mind during your journey. And one one guy goes in the garden and he take nothing. And
Keep waiting for the better one.
yeah, and why we take nothing? Because he keep waiting the better one, and then at the end he found that he already left the garden, and because uh the the, the game the game rules prevent him to walk back. Yeah, but another guy, he take one flower. Mm, yeah, and he can change his mind, but he also can choose not to change his mind. Maybe at the end, the flower he take out is not the beautiful ones. It's not the most beautiful ones, but at least he gets something.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so don't need to focus about the exploit and explore. Yeah, and even in our current task, we can also do the explore. And also about the barbell strategy. Mm, yeah, uh, it could be the good strategy. Mm, but I also saw many people that uh many people who use this strategy, but they keep find they, they keep find a new thing. They keep find uh their dance their what's it called, the density. No, uh, yeah, never mind. They they keep find the thing they want. Sorry, they keep find the thing they want. So it is something like they keep finding something good for them. They keep finding the only one thing. Yeah, it is the appropriate terms. They keep finding the only one things, and so they try a lot of things, and they do a lot of work, just like the slashy, but they couldn't do well, and every aspect, or even some few aspect, some few areas. So it actually uh, it actually not better than somebody who work in a direction, work in a uh single area. Yeah.
Yes. And to me, I feel actually for here, yeah, there is a difficulty, right, to find out something that which in this reading session, which is called the odds are in our favor. And then can we put in some strategy like mentioned in today's reading session, which uh, if something we can, if we do it and then maybe it is difficult, and but the pain is something that we still can endure, and then we are not uh, to a degree that we hate it or we keep complaining it. Yeah, if not to that degree, then this could be something that we need to be determined before before we find something uh, better than this.
Mm. But instead of to be determined, we form a habit, we make a ritual. Right. So yeah,
Yeah.
of course, by forming a habit, it also requires the self-controlling ability. Mm. Uh, but but we don't use our determination to do everything. We try to use our determination to form a habit, and then the habits will take for the short. Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in this last few reading section is actually the author want us to aware that, yeah, even though you learn the way to form a habit, but there's also an important thing, which is you need to choose the right habit to form. You need to choose the right habit to break. Mm. And yeah, even though you say, yeah, I can form a lot of good habits. For example, I do meditation and I do yoga and I do all those things. I do physical exercise. Yeah, right. But how about on your work? Yeah. So this is something like there's not a guidance for you.
Mm.
And many ways could be right. And you have to try. And how can you integrate this habit formation and habit breaking into your career? Mm. So that's there's a lot of possibility and you need to find, which is something you mentioned just now, the odds that favor you. Yeah, of course. For the physical exercise, for the meditation, for the yoga, yeah, they also have different types, and try to not force yourself to find the best one, and also try not to force yourself to to find the thing that suits that most suit you. Yeah, you just enjoy the journey, just like the flower example, the garden example. Yeah, if you're doing something and then you feel, yeah, it's not that good, I want to try something new. Yeah, you can keep trying while you're doing while you're spending 80% of thing 80% of the time effort on doing something. Okay, let's say for example the meditation, and now you doing sitting meditation, But how about you spend 80% of your current time doing sitting meditation and use 20% do the, let's say, the
Work.
meal meditation or walking meditation, yeah, or sleeping meditation. So you can try, yeah, you can try a different type. And if you do exercise, you also can try it. Maybe you get used to run. You like jogging or you like basketball, but you also can try spend 20% of your time, energy, effort to try new activities. Yeah,
Yeah.
for example, uh, let's say like swimming, or let's say like other, for example, like badminton or table tennis, something like that. Yeah. So, uh, if this if we apply this strategy on our hobbies, on something that's uh is non-work related, we'll feel relaxed. Yeah. And but if we if we too focus about the exploring, finding the best one, finding the most suitable for me, especially I want to mention that is especially for our work, for our career, and it creates the stress. It creates the stress. Mm, yeah. So just take it easy, and uh, one of uh one of thing is this is similar to the self-esteem. Just like you couldn't jump from a dependence to the unconditional, mm, in one day or even in 1 month or even in 1 year. It takes time. Yeah, maybe 5 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years. Yeah. So yeah, and one of example I make in the self-esteem is the walking. Initially you couldn't walk. Initially, you couldn't stand up. Yeah. How to learn walking? You definitely will fall down a lot of times, and at the
Mm.
end, you can learn how to walk. And after some time, you'll forget. You'll forget. Uh, not forget. It's not forget. You will lose the conscious. You'll lose the conscious of walking. Yeah. So that's uh you don't need to spend effort. You don't need to spend energy to walk. Mm.
Mm.
You can spend your attention on other tasks. Mm. Yeah. So to answer your questions, instead of finding the strategy to deal with that, uh, no need. Yeah, in my opinion, no need. Yeah, mm, you just need to remember, instead of keep trying new things, and also instead of keep just doing the old thing, there's a better strategy, which is you spend most of your time on the old thing and then spend a little bit of your time on the new thing. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So that's all for our today conversations. How do you feel? Did you enjoy our conversations? Please tell us what you think on our conversation. And we are not native speakers. Without any vocabulary mistake that we make, please also comment to let us know, because we want to learn more and improve ourselves. Remember to like and subscribe to us. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.